Welcome back for another video. This video here is going to be on 3D Mill Lesson 10 Exercise B. So this is going to be an Exercise B, the print that we're looking at right now. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to loft this part again here. So just like the tutorial, we're going to loft this part. And you can see we only have one end view. Which just means that we can assume that this is a symmetrical part. So it's the same on this end as it is on this end. And then we have to loft it through this shape in the center here. So let's go ahead and start drawing this. Let's pull this up. And again, I'm going to draw this like I did for the tutorial. I'm going to draw it kind of in the wrong position on the right side plane. And then I'm going to just translate the whole thing over. It's just a little bit easier with the dimensions and everything to do it that way than it is to try and do it the opposite. So I am going to go to levels. I'm just going to create my level and say profiles, and I'll create one a while for solid. All right. So now that I've created that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my right side plane, and I am going to, actually I'm going to work on my right side plane here with my G view as well. Okay, so we're going to draw this first shape here, which is mildly complex. It is looking like we have an overall dimension here. So I'm not seeing, oh, there we have it. Okay, 0.2. So it's 0.2 from here to here. All right, so let's go ahead and start in that corner and start drawing that. So wireframe. And as always, I am doing this on the fly for these things. So I'm actually going to start in that 0.2 corner. So I'm going to start at 0, 0.2, enter. And I'm going to come down to 0, 0. And I just want to make sure my 0 is 0. Okay, good. And this is a 2.5 y, so I'm going to do 2.5, comma 0. And then I'm going to go to 2.5, comma 0.2. And that's going to give me that bottom section there. Next, I believe I have to put in some radii. So it looks like here, actually, I have this flat here I could put in. I do have this radius I could put in right here. So I could put that in. I'm also looking at this angle. Okay, so I can put this angle in too. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this angle in after I do these two radii here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put those in. And I'm going to select a point, and it's going to be 1.25 minus 0.35, comma, and my y distance is going to be 0.4 plus whatever radius that is, which is 0.125, which is going to give me 0.525. So it's going to be 0.525, enter. And then my radius is going to be 0.125. Okay, check that. And I'm just going to select that, and I am going to mirror that. I'm going to mirror that over a vector. I don't even have a vector, darn it. All right, we're going to mirror it over the y-axis and offset of 1.25, tab. Okay, there we go. So basically what I did was I just offset my y-axis 1.25, which gave me the middle of my part, and I've mirrored it over that. So I don't have to draw two arcs there. All right, so now I can draw my lines. So first off, I can draw one line in between there, so we know they connect. My next line I'm going to start with is up here, and this is saying that it's 20 degrees from 90, which means if I subtract 20 from 90, I get 70, so this is going to be a positive 70 degrees. So I'm just going to draw that extra long. And for that next one, it looks like it's 0.7. So I'm just going to go 0, 0.7. And I'm going to draw that over. And I'm going to trim these a while. We'll put the radius on there in a minute. And then I have a 35 degree. So it's telling me 35 degrees from 90. So 90 plus 35 is going to be 125. So I need a 125 degree line. So pick my line, 125, tab, and I'm going to select from there. Check. All right, and then we'll trim this. Trim it, and I can trim this and this. And I'm actually even going to just get rid of that circle. Probably shouldn't even have created that now that I think about it. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to translate all this geometry. I'm going to mirror it all over. All right, 0.125 radius. All right, so there are all our radii. So this is kind of like half of the part. Now I'm just going to select all of these pieces, and I'm going to mirror them. So we're going to mirror just like I did last time, even though I didn't use what I mirrored. And sometimes you do that. Sometimes you get a little ahead of yourself and you draw some stuff that you really didn't even need to draw. But there we go. Hit check, and there is our finished profile. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm just going to go into the isometric, and we're going to draw that middle profile. My right view, having trouble seeing it here. Okay, so let's take a look at that. All right, so here's our middle profile. So we're going to need to create this arc. We're going to need to, we don't need to create this arc. We can actually just radius that, create a fillet there. So I am actually going to draw this line, this arc, and this line and extend it past it. I'm just going to mirror it. We're going to trim it and radius it. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, and also that is 2.375 in the negative. So let's go ahead and set that up. Negative 2.375. All right, and wireframe. And we're going to go from 0, 0. Helps if I press the actual line button, 0, 0. And we're going to come up to 0.3. Probably should have drew that arc first, actually. Oops, let me get out of there. Delete. Let me draw that arc. So that is going to be at 0.3, 0.3, enter, and the radius of that is 0.25, and there we go. And then we're going to go start at 0, 0, enter, and we're going to come up to 0, 0.3, enter. Now that should meet. That should intersect there. So, oh, I know why. I drew it at the wrong place. That's why. Center point for this should actually be 0.25, 0.3. And radius should be 0.25. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, and then we have, looks like we have a height of, oh, we do have to draw that arc at the top. Darn it. I thought we had an angle, but we don't have an angle on there. So we know that this is 2.5, so the the x-axis is going to be 1.25 because it's centered, comma, and 0.95 minus 0.25, which is just going to give us 0.7, enter, and our radius is 0.25, enter. And I'm going to check that and draw a tangent. Whoop. Sometimes you can whirly bird that into there. All right, so there we go. So we have half of that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to trim this, and I'm just going to draw, let me check that, and then I'm just going to draw a line straight down in the quadrant, And I'm going to divide this. Delete that and that. Okay. So that gave us half our profile. I'm going to select that half of the profile. And I am going to mirror that once again over the y-axis. Check. And there is the rest of our profile with the exception of this bottom line. Okay. So there we go. So we have both of our profiles. Now all we need to do is just select this one and let's translate that, and we're going to copy it. Oops. So 0 there, and we're going to go a negative 4.75. And that's going to copy it to there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit check, and I have my profiles. All right, so now what we're going to do is we need to draw those lines in. So we're just going to create our lines here because we don't have the same amount of entities creating these things. Obviously, we have a lot more entities in these front and back than we do in this one, middle one here. So we've got that created. Next, let's go to our top plane, and let's go ahead and extrude. Well, not extrude it, but loft this. So let's go to our solids, and we're going to go to our loft command. Actually, really quickly, let me go to my levels and oh, cool! I put all my profiles in the solid level. Let's call this solids, and I'll just change this. There we go. So now I'll work on this level. Just swap them around. All right, so we're going to loft, and I'm going to go into my settings, make sure that it is by branch point. Okay, and that looks good. And then I'm going to select these again, all at the same spot. So right now I'm getting a selection issue here. Oh, because I am on the top plane, that's why. So let me go to the right side plane. Okay, that should be a little better. There we go. All right. And again, I'm making sure that they start all at the same point and that they are all going the same direction. If you change the directions, they're not going to work. Check. And there we go. And we have our lofted surface. So I'm going to go ahead and hit check, and we are good to go. That looks good. All right, so it's on our level, so we can toggle that stuff off, and now we have everything there that we need. All right, so I'm gonna toggle them back on real quick. Like I did with the last one, I'm gonna go into my wireframe and I'm gonna go to my bounding box, and I'm just gonna select this solid and selection, and not lines and arcs, but I'm gonna create these corner points. And I'm going to hit check. Okay, and then I'm just going to translate this from here to 0, 0, and we're going to move it, and I'm going to hit check. Okay, so that looks like it's where it should be now. So if I delete those, oops. Make sure you get the right ones there. Okay, and there's one more. All right. And there we go. We have our solid in the right place. Okay, so let's go ahead and set our stock up for that. I guess we better pick a machine first. All right, stock, and we're gonna go to stock setup. And I'm just going to pick all solids again. And it looks like it's giving us 0.95. I'm going to give us 0.9 or 1.0 actually. I'm going to give us 50 thousandths extra there. And I think I need to put a 0.05 in there. Yeah. So we're just 50 thousandths above. And again, I'm only doing that for simulation purposes. If I really wanted to, what I really should probably do is transform everything down. Maybe I'll just do that for the heck of it. Transform negative 0.05. Okay, there we go. Check. And stock. Make that 0. Check. And there we go. So now everything's exactly the way it should be. Okay. So we can start doing our toolpaths now. So I'm going to take my levels. I'm going to turn my profiles off so I just see my solids. And I'm going to go to my toolpaths, and we're going to pick our parallel toolpath. So I'm going to pick a boss, and I am going to hit check. And I'm going to select, I'm just going to triple click this. Sometimes it's hard to get that triple click going. Oh, God, and I lost it. There we go. It's really kind of a hard habit to get into to do that. All right, let's select our tool, and our tool is a bowl mill, and I'm going to get my correct aluminum, open, 1/2 inch, and we're going to run this at about 80 inches a minute at 12,000 RPM, and we'll 25 on the plunge rate. And we're going to put a 1.0 clearance. I'm going to change this to 0.2. Oops, 0.2. Incremental, I'm going to leave 0.02 on. Parallel rough, we're going to step over 0.2. Machine angle is going to be 0 because it's going to be going with the x-axis. We're going to allow this. We're going to allow this. Gap settings, I'm not going to mess with them. Max step down, we're going to do 0.5. I'm cutting aluminum. That shouldn't be a problem. One-way cutting. Yeah, everything there looks good. So let's see how that looks. It looks pretty good to me. Okay. Let's go ahead and preview that. See what that looks like. Play. Doesn't look like the best looking thing, but I think that's exactly what we want. I think that's going to give us a good rough. So let's run our finish and see how it looks. If not, we can come back and adjust it a little bit if need be. So we're going to go and do our raster for our rough, and I'm obviously going to hit 0 and 0 for the stock to leave. Select my entities. I'm just going to select that top face this time because we don't need to do anything around the outside. End selection. Toolpath control, we don't need boundary chains for this. We do need to pick a different tool, and I believe if we look at our print, let me see what radii we have here. So we have a 1/8 inch outside. That's okay. What I'm really concerned about is this inside. So that means a 1/4 inch or a 1/4 inch ball mill is the best we can get in there. So we're going to need to use the 3/16. At least that's what I recommend. You can get away with using a 1/4, but you might not get a desirable finish. Ideally, you want to always use the biggest ball mill you possibly can. But in this case, we're really limited with what we can do because of those radii. 12,000. Obviously, my feeds are directly related to how big my cutter is. If I have a 3/16 cutter, I'm not going to be able to push that thing 80 inches a minute. I just don't have the same chip per tooth. So what I'm going to do is go 15.0 and zigzag. I'm going to zigzag it. And my step over, I'm going to make that 0.02 and just see how high my scallop is. I'm just going to make it 0.01. And there I have a 1/10 scallop. So that's not bad. That will do the trick. Transitions are okay. Steep and shallow. I'm going to change this to 1.0. We're going to turn our arc filters on. So turn these on. We're going to turn our smoothing on. And again, I usually try to split these like 30, 30, and like I said, it could be 33. You know, I just try to divide them pretty much evenly. Everything there looks pretty good. And I believe that'll do. Hit check. And let's see what we get here. Okay, that looks pretty darn good. Let's take a look and see how it simulates. Now, by the way, mine comes up really quick. I have a very good processor. I have a very good video card. So if yours takes a little while, it probably will spin for a little while. Doesn't have the computing power that mine does. Okay, so that looks good. I am very pleased with that. You can see all my radii are cut out nice. That's usually one of the first places I inspect, is to see how them radii look. And when you see little stuff like this, don't sweat it. That's just graphics generally. But everything there looks pretty good. So that is it. That is our complete part. If you have questions, as always, you can ask me during my office hours or you can ask me during class.